Hi there, this is Vanessa Meenhorn with another start to finish video showing you how to create this card with gold foiled flowers. For this card, I'm using this Winnie and Walter set called The Big, the Bold and Extras. I just love those flowers. We're starting with a panel of watercolor paper, and I will stamp the flowers using Versamark ink. And then we will use this Wow bonding powder. That's a special powder, just like embossing powder, but it will keep the foil on the places we want it to be. So I'm just stamping all my flowers onto this piece of watercolor paper, and afterwards I will sprinkle this bonding powder just like I would do with the regular embossing powder. So I'm just covering my panel with it, tapping off the excess, and then I heat set it with my normal heat embossing tool. I saw Isha Gupta use this wonderful product and just had to get it and try it. So now the flowers are heat set, I will color them with distress inks, and therefore I just smoosh my ink pad onto an acrylic block, and with my water tank brush I pressed a bit of water onto the ink, and now using a regular paintbrush I color the flowers. I don't have to be careful to keep inside the lines because I want to cut out the flowers after I have foiled them. So I'm just applying ink, trying to get some shadows to create more depth, and I'm using various distress inks here. It's picked raspberry and festive berries. This is mustard seed, and I first used this chipped sapphire one, but I will not use this flower in the end. Now I have this fab foil from Wow, and I just trim off a piece to cover the panel, lay it with the shiny side up onto the panel, and now in between a piece of regular printer's paper I run it through my very cheap laminator, just like you would do to laminate something. And now comes the fun part. I will remove the gold foil, so you will see it just stays on the places we heat embossed with the bonding powder. And voila, here it goes. Wonderful shiny flowers, outlined flowers. Now they are ready to be cut out to be put on my card. But first I would like to prepare the background, and on the background I will heat emboss the leaves, but this time I'm using white embossing powder and will color them using distress inks again. So I'm starting stamping them with Versamark ink again and apply the white embossing powder. I have prepared my surface with this anti-static bag that contains some powder to keep the embossing powder from sticking on places I don't want it to stick. So after I've stamped all my leaves, I'm sprinkling on the embossing powder, tap off the excess, and then I just heat set the stamped images with my heat gun. And now I'm just coloring in the leaves using Mode Lawn Distress ink. Again, I'm just pressing my ink pad onto this acrylic block, add some water from my water tank brush and color the leaves. This time I'm sure to stay inside the lines because it will stay as it is. Here I'm just adding more darker color to add some shadows. And now I'm cutting out my flowers. You can see it's important to not move the scissors, but the piece you want to cut out. You can see I just turn it, and this way you're able to cut out stamped pieces really fast. So I thought maybe you would like to see how I cut out my images. Now this video won't be a real start to finish video because somehow my card was full. I was fully loaded, the camera, but I just didn't manage to pick the right card, so it was full in the end. But you can see here I prepared my sentiment using the Big, the Bold and You dies from Vinnie and Walter again, and I cut out 2 pieces from black cardstock and 1 from the same watercolor cardstock. And now I'm just layering them all, adhering them to each other, starting with the black one. And this is because I want a subtle shadow. I could have used, sorry, I could have used all white cardstock, but then I think the sentiment would not be seen as well. So using it this way, it creates a very light shadow, and you can see the sentiment better on this card. Now I didn't want this tail on my word because it would have been too long for my card, so I just trimmed off this little tail. If you want to create a card saying thank you with this die, just trim off the S and you can use it more often. So just trimming off the tail and the card is finished. Now I only adhered all my flowers and the sentiment using some foam tape for the flowers to add more dimension, and in the end I sprinkled a bit of gold ink onto some places of the card, as you can see here in the end. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you soon. Bye!